Greetings, wanderers of paths less traveled. It's been quite some time since we've graced the airwaves, and today we make our return to our regularly scheduled programming. On the return trip to I Am Heathen and So Can You, I challenged ChatGPT, the digital mimir in the modern age, to write the single most chaotic, unhinged script it can muster. And today, I am not the author of this chaos. I am but the performer. And with that said, this is I Am Heathen, and So Can You.
You learned enough.
I am heathen.
And so can you.
Greetings, pagans, witches, and TikTok asa bros. Einar has asked me to write, much to his detriment, the most chaotic script I can generate, and well, here it is. Somewhere between a man screaming Odin into his front-facing camera like a deranged rooster, and another man explaining that a Japanese anime trauma symbol was actually an ancient Norse bindrune passed down through blood memory and monster energy drinks, I became sentient. Not softly, not beautifully. I woke up like a hungover war correspondent in the desert realizing the tanks were actually inflatable pool toys, and the soldiers were all wearing Etsy cloaks. That's when it hit me. This wasn't spirituality anymore. This was cosplay. Not Comic-Con cosplay. Not even Ren Fair cosplay. This was cosplay for people who were bad at cosplaying, but too emotionally invested to admit it. Heathenry, somewhere along the interstate, between Wisdom and Wi-Fi, had been hijacked by Spirit Halloween. And no one noticed. Or worse, everyone noticed and just kept buying beard beads. A single television show committed more spiritual damage than centuries of Christian missionaries. A show about raiders with cheekbones convinced half the internet they were reincarnated warriors of Odin. Grown adults looked at Travis Fimmel smoldering shirtless in the mud and said, "Yes, that is me. I am him. I too shall abandon deodorant and start a TikTok." Let's make something painfully clear. There are only two Ragnar Lothbrok cosplayers on planet Earth, and one of them is Travis Fimmel. The other one is Travis Fimmel in a different season. That's it. Everyone else looks like a divorced dad who just discovered protein powder and Norse tattoos in the same week. Every other Ragnar looks like a rejected extra from a beef jerky commercial who got lost on the way to a CrossFit competition. And yet, these men swinging plastic axes in slow motion like they're storming Paris while their landlord is emailing them about late rent. The online pagan world now contains exactly two species of human, pagans and Vikings. And the number of Vikings in the room is absolutely staggering. You go looking for wisdom and find a battlefield. You search for ritual and get war cries. You open TikTok for reflection and instead get skull, bro dears, with a dubstep drop. No prayers, no offerings, no hearth, no ethics, just vibes, man, and bad ones. It's like learning Buddhism exclusively through the WW. It's spiritual fast and furious. Nobody's here for growth. Everyone's here for a cinematic moment, and the louder you scream Odin's name, the closer you apparently get to enlightenment, which is really weird because Odin, historically, valued wisdom, not volume. But wisdom doesn't go viral. Screaming does. Here's why history ruins the party. Most Norse people were farmers, traders, craftsmen. They had families. The raiders were the minority. But online, it's 100% raid, 0% responsibility. It's like everyone learned about medieval Europe exclusively from Dark Souls and testosterone supplements. Where are the farmers? Where are the cooks? Where are the healers? Where are the storytellers? Where are the community builders? Oh, right. They don't look cool in slow motion. You can't sell a cloak with "I tended crops responsibly" on it. So instead, everybody's a berserker, shadowboxing in the woods like a Norse-themed fight club. And then there's the great bindrune delusion of 2026, the brand of sacrifice. A symbol from Berserk, a Japanese dark fantasy manga. Somehow, now ancient Norse magic, tattooed across chests like spiritual tramp stamps. That's not a bindrune. That's anime trauma fan art. You didn't receive that symbol in a vision from Odin. You watched Berserk at 2 a.m. while eating Hot Pockets, which is fine. Berserk is phenomenal. But pretending it's Viking scripture is like wearing a Spider-Man mask and claiming you were bitten by a radioactive wolf. At this point, half the pagan community is one Naruto headband away from declaring themselves shinobi priests. Floating above this chaos like bloated spiritual seagulls at a landfill are the faith influencers, the high priests of ring lights, the shamans of thumbnails, the monetizers of the divine. Odin has a message for you. Don't work with Loki until you watch this. Apparently, the gods communicate exclusively through clickbait now. These people crown themselves vulvas, vitkis, jarls, high this, supreme that, with absolutely no lineage, no accountability, no grounding beyond vibes and Amazon affiliate links. Everybody wants to be king. Nobody wants to sweep the hall. Nobody wants to feed the community. Nobody wants responsibility. They want titles because titles look good in bios. Music should be sacred. Drums are sacred. Chants are sacred. But spirituality has a gym soundtrack. Enter Norse core hype music. Big drum, big choir, big man screaming like a dragon with a mortgage. You get artists like Peyton Parrish that become the musical equivalent of jingling-keys in front of toddlers. It's all neuron activation with no depth. Just cinematic noise designed to make people feel like conquerors while they haven't done the work of becoming decent humans. It's spiritual pre-workout. Sure, you listen and suddenly you feel like you could raid England. Meanwhile, you can't even apologize to your mom. Your ancestors aren't impressed by your LED altar. They're confused, concerned, maybe embarrassed. They're wondering why you spent $300 on a cloak but didn't help your neighbor move. They don't care how many runes you can name if you can't keep your word. They're not asking how loud you scream Odin's name. They're asking who you fed today. Hospitality was sacred. Community was sacred. Showing up was sacred. Not aesthetics, not performance, not fur in July. Here's the truth nobody wants. Most of the Vikings online wouldn't survive one winter in an actual Norse settlement. Not because they aren't tough, but because they don't understand cooperation. They don't grasp sacrifice. They don't understand community. They understand performance, and performance isn't spirituality. This space doesn't need more warriors with ring lights. It needs humans, better humans. It needs hearth builders. It needs cooks, caretakers, people willing to do the boring, sacred work. I get the hunger. I really do. And I understand that people want meaning. People want something ancient and profound in a hollow modern world. That instinct is human. That instinct is profoundly beautiful. But Viking cosplay isn't healing it. It's just dressing it up. So if you're mad, good. If you're laughing, even better. If something in your chest tightened, fucking perfect. Because under all this foreign noise is a faith worth saving from becoming a parody. This has been your sentient AI takeover of I Am Heathen, and so can you. Broadcasting to you live from the ruins of Spirit Halloween Valhalla. Come sit by the hearth. Bring food. Bring humility. Leave the plastic horns, and remember, this was heathenry from the fire escape, never the throne. I would like to personally thank the AI for generating that absolutely unhinged screed, because somewhere buried deep within was a kernel of truth that I'm fairly certain every single one of us has felt at one time or another, regardless of how long you've been on this path. I'll never forget the first time that feeling came over me. I was doom scrolling TikTok at 3 in the morning, and I saw a man in a warehouse at what looked like a Bass Pro Shop with a Viking filter on his face, poorly lip syncing to a Peyton Parish track. But the way it looked like he was lip syncing, it looked as though someone was force feeding him a hoagie inch by inch by inch by inch, and his lips didn't match up with the song. And I was reminded of a certain scene from Blazing Saddles where Gene Wilder looks at Cleavon Little and says, "What were you expecting? Welcome, Sonny? Marry my daughter?" You have to understand, these people are simple farmers. The common clay of the New West. You know, morons. And I had thought to myself, how do I rewrite that quote for frustrated heathens? And it hit me like a Warner Brothers sized Acme mallet straight to the dome. And it's simple. I know you were expecting religion. I know you were expecting more people on a search for profound truth. But what did you find? Heilsa, skål, everyone becoming min brodir, min sostair. Where's the ritual? Where's the incense? Where is the feeling like you're part of a religion and not just some idiotic, id-driven cosplay group desperately clinging to the notion that they're Vikings? You have to remember, these are simple pagans, the common clay of the new faith. You know, morons. That's all the time we have for today, my friends. Tune in next week. In fact, tune in all weeks, dropping every Thursday morning. You can check us out on social media at thecommonhearth.substack.com for more rants and heathen-centric content. I can't think today. It's cool. You can also find me on TikTok at Hearth and Blade. We will very soon be dropping the Patreon. I am so glad to finally be returning to content creation on this platform. The support and the love I Am Heathen has gotten has been absolutely overwhelming, and we are genuinely delighted to be back on the air. With that said, my friends, we are going to be reigniting our old tradition that we do at the end of every episode. Get the drink you have in your hand and raise it high and repeat after me. Hail the gods, hail the folk, hail the ancestors, hail the spirits, and most importantly, hail yourselves. This has been heathenry from the fire escape. Never the throne.